What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and it's time to finish the purple wheel project. So if you guys watched the last episode, we finished with the front axle, we put some carbon fiber on the bike, and obviously we put the purple wheels with the T-drive rotors. Now it's time to get onto the back axle. We are going to be treating this bike to a carbon fiber rear hugger and chain guard by Fullsix, but the main thing is the wheel. That's the star of the show today. It's as purple as the front wheel. I know some of you guys had been questioning the decision, and most of you guys actually really liked it. I hope that you're going to say it looks good, but if not, I still appreciate your comments. It's not really negative. We don't get really offended by it. I know that it's not everybody's choice, especially when it's as purple as these wheels. But what are we going to do other than the rear hugger and the wheel? Obviously, once we have the rear axle out, we're going to run our ultralight rear rotor. We're also going to take this chance to do a 520 conversion kit, because if you get OZ Racing wheels, you're going to need to change your rear sprocket to an OZ Racing specific rear sprocket. It means that we don't want to just put a 525 and then change to a 520 conversion kit after that. It's a great time to do it. But let's do this. Let me get on here, get that chain off, get all the weights. I think there's some weight savings to be had. Grab the pin too. Let's be as fair as possible. It's 6.96 pounds for the stock sprocket and chain setup. I'm going to open up this chain here. I'm going to cut it to length, and then we'll put the new sprocket and chain setup that we're going to use to see the weight difference, if there is any. I think you might be shocked on how much weight you can save on the sprockets and chains when you do a 520 conversion kit. And don't worry, I know it's a 1100cc bike, and these bikes make a lot of torque nowadays. The new 520 setups are pretty robust. The tensile strength is more than enough to run a 520 kit on these bikes, because if you take a look, I know it's not in the Aprilia world, but Ducati's special bikes that are pushing a lot of power, and I think the M1000RR as well for a point was coming with the 520 chains, but I know that for a fact that the V4R and the SP models come with a 520 chain from factory. But let's get this done. I really want to see how much we're saving. So 6.96 pounds stock. Let's figure out what the new stuff is going to weigh. Well, I guess we could call this a meaty chain, that it comes in butcher's paper, or it looks like butcher paper, but we're going with the DID ERV7 chain, and it's the gold color. I think it'll look good on the bike because the bike has, other than the purple, red, white accents, it has gold like the Öhlins forks. So this will go nicely with the bike, but I gotta cut this to length, and then while I have the chain on the floor, this is what I usually do. I'll lay it on the floor to measure them side by side. Maybe you guys can see the difference of the thickness of the chain, because that's what the 520 versus 525 is. And as I mentioned, don't worry, as long as you stick to a good name brand and you check the tensile strength, you should be able to be safe with this conversion kit while you're trying to save weight. The other chains that we really like using are the EK3DZ chains. In this case, I don't know why, I kind of like the gold on the ERV7 more, and I like the black gold of the EK3D chains. Whatever you choose, they're both really, really great chains. Let's get to this. I really want to see how it looks on the bike, but I also am really, really interested to see the final weight savings with just the chain and sprocket on this motorcycle. Some of you guys asked questions about the tools that we're using. I have the Motion Pro PBR chain brake press rivet tool. I usually use this tool just to break the chains, because you could also use a grinder, but I don't want to start getting the grinder out and putting my safety glasses on. This does a great job at breaking the chains. It's actually really easy to use if you use it for riveting and also pressing the chain on the master link side. But my brother had mentioned to me that the DID chain tool was perfect. It's almost foolproof. This is super easy. This is even easier. So I use this to break the chains, and I use this to press and rivet the chain when we're done with it for the master link. And I also want to mention, guys, all the products that we use, not just the tools, but all the products that we install on the motorcycles that you're watching, you can get the links in the description below. We have some quick links to make it easy for you guys. But enough talking, because we got to see how much weight we saved with the chain. And for the rear sprocket, we're using the Sita aluminum rear sprocket. Let's see, just the sprocket itself. Just the front and rear sprocket by itself is 1.12 pounds. I think on the sprocket side, just by the sprockets being 520 in aluminum, well, the rear one is aluminum, the front one is hardened steel, we're saving a pound. And let's put this, because I believe it was 6.96 pounds for the whole setup. And this thing, plus I'm putting the plastic right here, it's
4.86 pounds.
So we're saving 2.1 pounds. That math was easy, guys, but wow, that's quite a bit of weight to save. I know, yes, we're saving weight with the wheels. So don't forget, guys, that it's 2.1 pounds off the drivetrain, that's rotational mass, but it's also unsprung weight because your suspension moves that rear arm up and down as well. So it not only allows more power to the rear wheel, but it also really affects the handling of a motorcycle. I mean, I'm sure you guys are gonna comment, can you really feel it? I'm not a pro rider, I can't, but trust me, pro riders do feel it. And let me tell you this, because I've said this in another video, it's almost MotoGP time again. Last year when I was at the MotoGP at the Circuit of Americas, we were talking with one of the team engineers and they were changing chains every single session. And we asked, why are you guys doing this? And they said that it really, really matters how much power that bike is putting down at the rear wheel, to the point that they have to adjust the traction control settings on the bikes that have a used chain versus a new chain, and a chain that's properly lubed versus a chain that's not lubed. So there you go, guys. If you guys think it's a myth that we do these things, it's not. It actually really allows more power to the rear wheel. But let me clean this chain off. I'm gonna get all that manufacturer grease off of it, and then I'll put it on the bike, and then we'll admire the beauty of it. We're gonna continue with the weight savings, guys. This is our stock rear rotor, and we're gonna be going with the Ultralight rear rotor by Racing. I wanna first say something, guys. There's a lot of counterfeit ones out there, so be careful. Make sure you buy the brand that you trust. But on the other hand, a lot of people question us about these rotors right here, the Ultralight rear rotors. And my answer is, Motor America teams are using them. There's a couple guys running these things on there. It's perfectly fine. Unlike the front brakes, your rear brakes doesn't need that much thermal capacity, especially if you're using it on the road or if you're not even a pro rider. But even the pro riders are using these things because, again, it's about the weight savings and that power transfer to the rear wheel. You want to lose as least amount of power as possible, because the heavier that rear wheel is as a package in total, the less power it's going to put down to the ground, because it's going to go away as parasitic power loss. Let's check this. So the stock rear rotor is 1.72 pounds. And then the Racing one is 1.08 pounds, so 0.64 pounds lighter. So we're going to be hitting around 3 pounds of weight savings just off the sprocket and chain and this thing alone. Let me get that rear rotor installed on the wheel, and then next is going to be doing the TWM chain adjusters. The cool thing is that these make it super easy to get your chain tension right, but also make sure that rear axle is dead straight. It has these laser etch markings over here, and these are CNC machines. I don't know what the exact spec it is. I think it's 1 to 1,000th of a millimeter precision with these. And this part of your swing arm is machined, so that's very precise too. That way, when you put this with the precision piece of your rear swing arm, you know that these markings are going to be exact. Let me quickly show you how easy it is to install these on there and how good they actually look on the bike as well. Well, for you guys who are wondering, we're about to put our rear hugger on this bike. This has an integrated chain guard. The factory piece is 2-piece. And if you're ever wondering how much does a stock plastic hugger and chain guard weigh on an RSV4, it's 0.86 pounds. And how much does this weigh? This weighs around 0.4 pounds, so it's half the weight. It's cool, it's carbon, it's Fullsix. We love these things. I'm gonna get this on the bike and then it's wheel time. Well, I told you guys that we're gonna bring it out in the sun, and oh my God, does this thing look just beautiful. The purple wheels were the right choice, at least to me, because it blends in so well with the bike. It matches this purple over here perfectly, and everything else that we did, like this carbon fiber rear hugger, front fender, it completely matches this heel guard over here. We did a little bit of performance, we did a lot of looks. So we have the T-drive rotors, we save weight with the wheels, we save weight with the 520 conversion kit. This ultralight rotor also saved us some weight for us. And I can't stop looking at it. I gotta look at the camera, guys, but I just wanna stand back and look at this bike. That's how beautiful it looks. And it already is a one-of-a-kind RSV4. It was when it was even Speed White, but now this is a one-of-a-kind of a special edition, Speed White edition of the RSV4. And we're not done yet, guys. We have so much more stuff coming up for it. We have more carbon fiber. We're gonna do the handlebars, the mirrors, loads more stuff coming up. I don't know exactly how we're gonna go ahead and progress with it because there's so many other cool parts that I don't know which one to choose first. But I'm so happy that we got these purple wheels on. I said it was the right choice. Do you think it was the right choice? Because I mean it. Let me just stand back and take a look at this because wow, it just, I don't know, guys. I told you guys I was smiling when I saw these wheels. I'm smiling even more now that I see it on the bike. But that's it for this episode, guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to start the bike. It's cold. We're not going to warm it up here right now just to rev it a little bit. We want to respect the bike for a tiny little bit. If you want to hear it revving, we have a video of the SC Project exhaust. It sounds absolutely fantastic. But that's it for this episode, guys. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.